The work has begun at Manchester United as 8 players have been released. Meanwhile, there are reports suggesting that a mega bid is being prepared for a youngster all the way from France. My name is Webb. This is the United Hotspot. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are. It's Man United Talk as we count down to what is expected to be a busy transfer window. But most importantly, what we want to hear is Erik Ten Hag staying on or now. Listen, Manchester United is making progress in terms of where they want to go in terms of the future, as already 8 players have been released, including, of course, the likes of, we know Anthony Martial left, we know that Rafael Varane left, Brandon Williams also left, has left the club. He's among those who have been confirmed to depart. Now, there are players who are expected to hold talks, longer talks with the club, the likes of Johnny Evans. They are still contemplating keeping him together with Tom Heaton. These are 2 players that they say they are going to hold talks with to see if they can, tie them down and have them stay around the club. They are still silent on Sofian Amrabat and on whether he's staying, he will go back to Fiorentina or not. But they can't include him in the list because he's not a Man United player. He was only on loan at Manchester United. So they will come out and confirm whether or not they are going to talk to him and try to get him on a permanent, because that was an option in his contract in our contract with Fiorentina. But Johnny Evans, guys, if they are talking to Johnny Evans, trying to keep him around, it shows you that probably things will not change so quick. It shows you that maybe if they will have room for Johnny Evans, who has been earning £60,000 per week, perhaps try to talk him down to a lesser fee to keep him around. Not that he has not been a good player, but for such an old player, it shows you that maybe we don't expect the changes to come in at once. It shows you that they are willing to keep some bit of experience, because Johnny Evans' experience is definitely important for the club, for the youngsters we are hoping to buy. So it's a good sign. Christian Eriksen is also, of course, still staying. I think he's one of those we'll be looking to sell, hoping to get some money for him. He's also staying. So if you expected him to be released, I mean, he still has a contract, so he cannot just leave like that. He came to the team as a free agent, really. So they are hoping they can get any money, any amount of money for him, any club that would want to take him. But I'm certain Eriksen will not be staying longer than this season. But there are reports that have come out suggesting that Leny Yoro, the youngster from Lille, the 18-year-old defender, United has been serious on him. And I voted before, I think a few weeks ago, telling you about how he was one of those now United was looking to, because if we get Todibo, the idea is for United to get at least 2 centre backs. Now, we've been linked to so many, but most of them are a bit expensive. Now, there are reports saying that United has made a 50 million pounds bid for him. Of course, the bid cannot have been made, yet. But I think about the price of this boy, and I'm thinking, if they are willing to spend that amount of money on him, first of all, it's a sign of how good he is. I've seen him play. I've watched his videos. Not that I was watching real games live, to be honest, but I watched his videos, and I think, like I said, he's good in 1v1s, and I think that has been a weakness with some of our centre backs. They are not good in 1v1s, but being 18, but also ahead of Cambuala, who has also been retained, by the way. He's ahead of Cambuala in terms of, if he came at Man United, him and Kambala, who would start ahead of the other? I think the 18-year-old boy would, because if you watch him play, he has played over 46 games for Lille. He made his debut at 16. For a 16-year-old player to be trusted to start in the French league and start in the senior team, it shows you he's good. He's the second youngest player in the history of Lille to play for the senior team. So it shows you the potential he has. But if in the times we are willing to spend 50 million on him, it speaks of his potential and also the plans we have for him, because you don't sign a player for that amount of money when you're broke and you just keep him on the bench as a part of the rotation. So it shows you that maybe they are looking at getting, more senior Todibo, who is 24, coming in from Niche, who can come in for about 40 million pounds. Then this boy is a future prospect. He's looked at for the greater good, which I think is a good way to do business. So meaning, chances are the likes of Brentwaite, Bremer, we'll forget about those. Because I don't think United would sign that boy. If they go ahead and make the offer, I don't think Lille will turn it down. So I don't think we would sign him and Todibo, then we go for another centre back. So I think for me, It's a case of signing an older player and one for the longer for the longer term. I think that's the plan that Ineos is coming up with. But for me, here's the thing. I am one of those people, and whether they've made the bid or not, for me, here's my issue. I am one of those people who is not for clubs signing players for managers. Whereas, yes, you you've created a structure the way I think Real Madrid does it best like that, and it works for them somehow, where they'll keep on signing players and then bring a manager who will get the best out of those players, who will make the players perform. But the signings are recommended by the club, not by the manager. So even when they don't have a manager, they will keep signing players. I am personally not excited by that approach because right now we are not sure whether Eriksen is staying or not. But Man United is looking at signing players. Now I'm thinking which you want a manager to be involved in, at least, of course, even if their structure is not going to allow the manager to be the one making the final decision, he will certainly have a contribution. I think it makes better sense for a manager to work with players he has been involved in bringing, other than you signing players for me and then trying to force me to fit into those players. I feel like that is a more it's a business driven model, not a football driven model. And that is a bit of a problem. Just support the manager so that the decision is not entirely on him. See the way it is at Arsenal. If you watch All or Nothing, I was watching it last night, the whole of it, rewatching it anyway. And I was seeing how Mikel Arteta built this certain Arsenal team with Edu and the CEO. You would see that yes, Edu is a technical director doing most of the work of looking for the good players to fit into the team, but he would work with Mikel Arteta, the manager. And you see that even when it doesn't work, the backing will be they will trust what they are doing. It will be a team. They back each other. Even the son of Kroenke, I think it's called Josh Kroenke, was also involved in the whole process. So it's better. It's more easier to back. But if you bring in players for a manager doesn't perform, you will sack him again because players come with different characters. I think it's a bit more difficult. So that's why I question these links that if before you go into making bids for players or putting bids together for players, have we decided on which manager we are going to bring in? But also, players, the good players will always, no good player will want to join a club when they don't know which manager they are going to work for to play under. So I feel like Ineos, yes, are trying to get things done, but they forget that the most important thing they need to sort is the manager. And for as long as they have not yet sorted the manager issue, they have not yet answered the manager question, I feel like whatever they're doing might be a waste of energy, burning energy a little bit. The first thing they need to do is to sort the manager. It will be easier for them to sign players. It will be easier for them to back the fans and everyone. It will be easier for people to buy into the project and trust that it is the right project headed to the right direction. So that's my honest opinion. So this Euro bid, and of course there are also talks of the bid for the bid for for Joao Neves, very important. And again, like I've said all the time, I've said I think Joao Neves is the right is holding midfielder to come in and replace Casemiro. But the reality is, without a manager, it doesn't sit well without having clarity on who the manager is going forward. Otherwise, we'll have issues where the manager will come in and they completely cannot deal with these players because you did not first get a manager. Unless they are trying to go the Real Madrid way, where they will keep signing players even if they don't have a manager, then bring a manager. And in that case, they will have to keep rotating the same managers like Madrid does. They'll keep going for the same managers, the big managers, because usually it is a small pool of big managers who are able to come and fit into any players probably you give them, and somehow they'll figure out how to make them perform. So I feel like the modern game is not like that. The modern game is building a project, and you can't build a project when you're signing players for a manager. That's what I think, honestly. So yeah, my name is Webb. This is the Night of Sport. Of course, that is a bit of what's happening with Manchester United. That's a bit of the news that is coming out, talking about, of course, Leny Yoro from Lille. He's a beautiful centre back. I think we can make use of him. I think he's a good player to sign. Bring him and Todibo. Forget about Branthwaite. I think he would be a one for the future. Bring in Joao Neves in the middle. bring in a left back. We'll talk about the left back, by the way, because there are several that have come up lately. We'll talk about him maybe later in my next video. Then, of course, a striker. Fulham has confirmed that that uh, 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 Tosin is leaving. By the way, Fulham has confirmed. So we'll see. Also monitor where he's going. He's leaving as a free agent. So we want to see. He's reportedly linked to Chelsea or Arsenal. We are still not clear where he will go. He's yet to decide where he wants to go. Even Man United is interested in him. But the issue is the striker. Which striker will Man United go for? Sesko is also there. He's another player, but RB Leipzig, we are trying to offer him another deal to try and keep him around. But I mean, what are the odds that Leipzig can keep a player wanted by Man U, Arsenal, and Chelsea in equal measure? It's difficult. So we'll follow the transfer talk. It's beginning to grow, but all after Erik ten Hag. Now, here's the thing on Erik ten Hag. Reports are suggesting that it might be today, before close of business today, Erik ten Hag might be subscribed.